Let's bring in Greg Sheridan, foreign editor at the Australian newspaper. Greg, I want to get to Liz Cheney and the Trump matter in a moment off the back of those FBI raids, which is just a very interesting development. But let's talk about Scott Morrison first up. What was your take on his news conference today? Is he in any better position after his explanation than before it?
No, Kieran, I would say he's in a worse position. I mean, I hate to join in the beating up on Morrison when he's down, and I normally defend prime ministers just after they lose elections. But these extraordinary actions, there was no justification for them. There was absolutely no justification for keeping them secret. He says he didn't want the cabinet ministers to be second-guessing themselves because he was also sworn into their portfolios. What does he think they are, 12-year-old kids, and he's the only grown-up in the playground? I mean, there was an arrogance and hubris about this, acting unilaterally. It's against the spirit of cabinet government. It's against the letter of cabinet government. It's weird. It's decidedly weird, and I think it was part of a debilitating pattern on Morrison's part of trying to centralise all authority and power in his own office. Even the way the resources decision was taken was absurd. I mean, if a prime minister can't get a minister to do what he wants him to do, he can sack the minister. You don't do sort of special constitutional hijinks to get round it. I think, I think this is a very disappointing episode, and the news conference, I think, was actually damaging to Morrison because, as you just pointed out to Stuart Robert, he still doesn't think he did a thing wrong. He thinks it was all great. We've just misunderstood him.
Yeah, there was certainly no apology, was there, on that front? Absolutely not. Now, let's talk some really interesting things internationally, the Liz Cheney result. Does this show that Trump has actually been emboldened, that his support base has improved off the back of the FBI raids?
Yes, I think it does, sadly. I think it's a tragedy to lose Liz Cheney. I interviewed her dad a few times, Dick Cheney. And, Dick Cheney, I admire Dick Cheney. I think he's a terrific person. And he's one of the most right-wing mainstream politicians in American history. And he regards Donald Trump as the most dangerous man in the history of the United States, at a senior political level. This raid that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, authorised on Trump's home, on everything we know so far, was completely unnecessary, in great contrast to the way Hillary Clinton was treated. She also had top secret material in the emails that she purloined from the State Department. And it embitters American politics. It will make successive criminal prosecutions much more likely. But what it also does, which the Democrats love, is it empowers Trump within the Republican Party. It makes it impossible for any Republican to stand against Trump, and it puts Trump back at the centre of things. Now, far from trying to destroy Trump, I think the Democrats want this to happen because they think he's the only factor that could get their vote out for them. So I think this is a really dark and cynical and terrible period in American history where the Democrats, I'd say, are almost as guilty as Trump of misusing processes and, putting the nation last. On everything we know so far, there's just no justification for this FBI raid. And what it has done is made Trump the king of the Republican Party. That's bad for the Republican Party, but it's very bad for America and for the whole world.
Now, 1 minute left. I want to get your thoughts. Where is the China-Taiwan situation at as we speak this afternoon?
Well, I disagreed with Dave Sharma, who said on Sky earlier that he thought Pelosi's visit had damaged Taiwan. I think that's quite wrong. I agree with Alexander Downer, who says it has resulted in greater solidarity for Taiwan, expressed internationally, and greater clarity about Beijing's intentions amongst the international community. Now, Beijing seems as though it's going to keep up these harassments of Taiwan, and it's up to all civilized nations to intensify their relations with Taiwan at a practical level. Nobody's going to war here, but Nancy Pelosi didn't go to war. The Chinese are the ones who reacted in this way, but there are very tense times ahead. They were going to come whether we had the Pelosi visit or not. I do think that Beijing will increase the tempo of its harassment of Taiwan and it'll be up to Taiwan to resist that with the assistance of the United States.
Greg Sheridan, appreciate it. See you next week.
Thanks so much, Kieran.